Welcome to Killer Women with your host, best-selling author Danielle Girard. And now, Danielle's next killer woman.
Hello, and welcome to Killer Women Podcast, a proud member of the Authors on the Air Global Network with more than 4 million listeners. I am your host, suspense author Danielle Girard, and my guest today is Tori Eldridge. Tori is the best-selling author of The Ninja's Oath, book 4 of the Lily Wong thriller series, twice nominated for the Anthony Award, Lefty and McCavity Awards finalist, a Lefty and McCavity Award finalist, and 2021 Crimson Scribe winner for the best book of the year. Her dark fantasy thriller, Dance Among the Flames, was inspired by her screenplay, The Gift, that earned a semifinalist nod from the Academy Nicholl Fellowship. Tori's shorter works appear in numerous anthologies, including Crime Hits Home and Weird Tales magazine. Tori has performed on Broadway, television, and film, and earned a 5th-degree black belt in Toshindo?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, ninja martial arts. Learn more about Tori at her website, torieldridge.com. Welcome, Tori.
Thanks so much.
I know,
this is so fun.
So
Good to chat
excited.
with you.
I'm reaching across, Tori. We are in a hotel room. Hotel conference room. You can tell because the lighting's terrible.
Such a fabulous.
But and all my glow back. But this is Tori's new book, The Ninja's Oath. Tori, tell us about this book.
Oh my gosh. All right. So The Ninja's Oath is the 4th book in a 4-book set. It can be read as a standalone. It's a great introduction to the Lily Wong series.
So fun.
But all 4 books, they take place within like 4 months of each other. And so this is like the big climactic, royale finish and everything. So I'm really excited about this. So this takes Lily to Shanghai to help Uncle, who is Li Chang, that's her father's cook in his authentic Hong Kong restaurant back in LA. Her father's Norwegian, by the way. Yeah, her mother is Hong Kong Chinese, but her father's Norwegian. He's the one with the restaurant. Anyway, his cook was a former triad enforcer, and he's in Shanghai, and he interrupted Lily Wong's trip on the way back home to LA and said, I need you to come to Shanghai to help me because my grandniece is gone missing. And you owe me.
That's right.
Well, the owe me part was implied.
Yeah.
So she's joining forces with Li Chang, former triad enforcer, and Jay Tran, this really sexy, enigmatic assassin from book 1.
It's a super fun read.
He comes back. Yeah. So they join forces and then it just gets off the charts. Yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy.
So Lily Wong, tell us like how when did she come to you? How did she come to you? I'm sorry. It's also like 1,000,000 degrees in here. Thank you. Montanans aren't used to this heat. So tell us, how did Lily Wong come to be, Tori?
Oh my gosh. It was so funny. I was writing a different book.
Yeah.
And I took a break to whip out a short story. And it was on a premise, and I knew the premise, and I just kind of sat down, and I don't usually do longhand stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
But in one sitting, out came this short story, and Lily Wong was there on the page. She didn't have a name. I knew she was biracial Asian. I didn't know anything more than that because it wasn't necessary for the short story.
Right.
But I looked at that and I knew that I had written what could be the opening of the first book in a series. And sure enough, it was.
And did you abandon the other book for that time? You're just like,
I set it aside. I said, it's still waiting if I want to get back to it. But
she just took over and was like, isn't that fun when a character just like, I need to be told,
She really did. And then, then I realized, wow, I had never written anything that was kind of from my own heritage.
Yeah.
Because I'm Hawaiian, Chinese, and Norwegian. And I thought, wow, I want to tell that.
We want to hear those stories. It's so amazing. She has such an eclectic, wonderful background.
Oh.
I mean, I guess as do you, it sounds like.
It's interesting because I grew up in Hawaii. So Chinese in Hawaii is different from Chinese growing up in the LA area.
Sure.
So I made sure that
she's different.
I made sure that I had to really interview some friends who had other experiences and then kind of take all that in and find Lily's experience.
Right. Of
Yeah.
course. It's not exact. I mean, obviously it's you, but it's not you. There's pieces that you got to explore, which I absolutely love. And so tell me what's the best part of coming back to a series? Because that's like, it's kind of, I've done series, I've done standalone, you've done series, you've done standalone. What's sort of the favorite part about like knowing that when you had known there was going to be another Lily Wong story?
Yeah. Well, I love her.
Yeah.
And I love her family.
Yeah.
Her father is so endearing, and her relationship with her mother is so complicated. And oh my
mothers
God,
and daughters, right?
and those grandparents, they don't make an appearance in the fourth book, but they certainly are meddlesome in the first three.
They are. Yes, they're such
Funny,
characters. I know, family.
So that's always fun, and you know how the book is.
Yeah.
How you write this particular book. Although I will say, I started this one a little differently than the others.
Yeah, you did.
It's still action, but it's a little different.
It's a little different for sure.
In fact, I broke a couple of my methods in this book.
So talk about that.
Yeah.
How do you normally come to a book, and what was different?
Yeah, well, okay, so a couple of things. One, all the first three books are only in first person, and the fourth book also is in first person. However, there's a section where it also adds another point of view character, and I've never done that before.
That's brand new.
And I remember talking to JT Ellison about this. I'm like, there's something I want to do, but I haven't done it with the first three books. She goes, it's your series, honey.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever you want. So I was like,
I love JT.
I will.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, okay, I own this thing.
Yeah. And the other thing was, I like to outline. In fact, I like chapter by chapter, like, little summaries. So I have a sense of everything. So, which means by the time I start writing, every word counts. I don't just, spew out the first thing to figure out where it's going, because I already know where it's going.
Right.
But this one would only let me do that for the first half.
Interesting.
I knew where everything was going, but I couldn't do the chapter by chapter summaries from the midpoint on.
Why do you suppose that is?
I was changing location, and I needed to get there. I needed some things to happen to get there so that I really knew. So once I got there, then I was able to do that.
Interesting. So you had to kind of feel your way for the first time.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was like I knew where I was going for that whole first half, but then, I kept looking at that Scrivener binder with, the whole second half, all these, clues.
Yeah.
I had like these clues.
Yeah.
This is kind of where it's going, but no detail. That was interesting.
So once you got to figure out how to get there, did you start to outline again, or did you just let it flow from that point?
I kind of let it flow.
Which is a different experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I write. Unfortunately, I love the idea of an outline. I've never successfully been able to do it.
Do you know where it ends before you start?
I usually have the sort of penultimate fight scene in my head, but I don't know. I wish I did.
Do you know who the bad guy is, though? Because
Yes,
some mystery authors don't.
Sometimes it changes. Or there's another person, that you're like, oh, that person's involved too. So it's kind of fun. Let's talk about Lily Wong's martial art.
Oh,
because I'm a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo.
I know you
but
are.
You are a fifth degree. Tell us about how, your experience with that, which is incredible, and then how that ended up being Lily's experience.
Okay. I always wanted to get into martial arts, but I went into dance full on. So my mother was like, choice. It has to be dance or whatever. So I followed dance until I had a son in baby karate. He was like, I don't know, 5 or something. And I was one of those moms watching from the sideline.
Me too.
And
wanted you watch. That's how I started too.
And at that point I had retired from dance.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
And I remember my first day I got on the mat. It was a very small class, and it was mixed rank from all the way up to, first degree red belt. And I remember the teacher going, you know the first form, don't you? And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, could you perform that? I'm like, okay.
Because you've been watching your son.
And he knew my background. He's like, you know the second form, don't you? And I'm like, yes. Could you perform that? I did, yes. And then it became like a game.
Right.
So on my first day, I even did jump spinning heel kicks against a target.
Wow.
I even sparred.
Oh my God.
with
So that's my
headgear.
least favorite thing is the sparring. I hated that.
Oh, it was wild because he told me, you don't know what you're doing. You have no control. You're not allowed to hit anybody in the head, but they have control so they can hit you in the head.
That's the thing I didn't like. Right. You're like
My introduction. So anyway, I started in karate. I got a first degree black belt in that, but at that same time, I was introduced to the ninja arts and I went nuts with that. So I ended up getting both black belts around the same time, stopped teaching in the karate, pursued only the ninja arts and just stuck with it.
Yeah. So tell me about the ninja arts, because of course in Montana we don't have those. So
Yeah.
that's it's a lesser known.
It is. It comes down through 9 different lineages,
Okay.
going back centuries.
Yeah.
And a lot of those lineages, the art is in espionage or in this and that and the other thing, but many of them are forms of unarmed combat and all kinds of archaic weapons and how to use them with environmental weapons. It is the most comprehensive art I've ever encountered. I've also done a bit of wushu, just like Lily, which is why I wanted to include it in there. I did wushu, spear, and some kickboxing and some Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But it's the most all-inclusive. And it also has a very strong spiritual connection.
Yeah.
My teacher, Stephen K. Hayes, was also a Buddhist priest. And so he really pulled in the Tendai Buddhism and the esoteric aspects of that. And I've got to say that the Ninja's Oath is the most ninja of all the books.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It's very cool Easter egg in ninja stuff.
Yeah, and it's actually really cool that you did that, because I feel like, there weren't, like, I got involved the same way with my kids, but I just like the fact that you've been through it, you've gotten so far. Sorry, our lighting in here is terrible. Sorry, I just lost our little light. So the fact that you've, continued on, do you still practice?
No. Sometimes when I go out for hikes, I'll take a 6-foot staff with me. And I'll do some stuff. But no, I stopped teaching and training because I was traveling around the US giving seminars. And I stopped all that when I dedicated myself to writing full time, which was all around my 50th birthday.
I love it.
I thought that was so empowering to make it all happen on that one powerful day.
That's a big transition for women. Of course, 50 is the new 30, but just so we're clear, because I'm also that age.
Excited because it's like the new half century of my life.
Yeah.
I went around telling everybody, hi, I'm turning 50. I was so excited.
That's awesome.
I was like a lunatic.
That's awesome. And so the first Lily Wong book, was that your first book? Your first full-length book?
That was the first published novel.
Yeah, congratulations. And so how do you feel about the fact that you're sort of saying that this is the last for now? I always say for now, because you never know if you're going to come back to it.
Yeah.
But if this is the last Lily Wong book for
it's really funny because I don't know that my publisher knows that.
Oh.
No, I just can't.
Sorry.
No, we haven't said we're ending the series, but it is definitely ending a 4-book set. So if I were to pick this up, it would be, because this is all in 2019.
Wow.
Because that's when I started the first book, and all of these take place within 4 months.
Which is nice, because what's nice about 2019?
It's before the pandemic.
It's pre-pandemic. So it's like, it's so much nicer to write about pre-pandemic than it is to write about, but you'd have to start the next one in like 2023. Yeah.
That's probably what I would do. If I picked it up again, that's probably exactly what I'd
skip all that the messy middle stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about food, because when I read a Lily Wong book, I'm always like, there's no good, we have no good sort of like Asian fusion-y Chinese.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
I know. Especially because I grew up in California. So it's like that we had wonderful Chinese food, and it's a weird, we have Indian and sushi, but no Chinese food in both.
Sushi?
Yeah.
In Montana?
Yeah. And it's actually quite good that, they can fly those the fish in. I know.
In a very fast plane.
In a very fast plane. But I know it's probably not like sushi we'd get in
refrigeration.
Yeah, we would not. It's the sushi that we would get in Hawaii, but
here.
Yeah,
we're in San Diego.
Yeah, we're in San Diego at the World Mystery Convention, BoucherCon. I think we met at a BoucherCon. That's when we first met. Was BoucherCon?
No, we met at a hotel get together in Santa Monica.
That is Santa Monica. Yeah, we did that bedside reading.
Yeah,
that was really fun. You're totally right. You
That
nailed
was
me on
fun.
that. I forgot about that. That was really fun.
It was.
Okay, so seriously, talk about food because
Okay.
like these things that I literally am like, when is the invitation coming to have dinner with Lily and her family? Because that's what I'm like looking for
Well,
that.
the next time you come to LA, you have to stay with me and I will cook for you.
Okay, like I'm so sold on that. So 'cause
Yeah.
Lily, the food that is described in the book, and of course it's a huge part of their culture, especially like you
Huge
said,
part.
because they're chefs. This is like a family of people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I really am like, every time I'm like, well, I have a list of things I'd like you to make for me. I'll just call through the books and be like, okay, Tori, here's what I want.
You know why I spend so much time with food is because I write books at Lily Wong especially, but even Dancing on the Flames,
Yeah.
because that was Brazilian. I really sink into culture. And one of the
Yeah.
best ways to understand it, people, is through their food.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Right.
so it's really important. Food and family, that's another thing that is really important. So what was super fun about the Ninja's Oath is that it's not only Lily's family, because there's a huge family drama between Lily and her mother and
Yep.
her father.
Yep.
And it's a big crisis. But there's Uncle's family.
Yeah.
And to figure out Uncle's family, I actually did research on Shanghai, you know, from the Japanese invasion.
Wow.
And then I did a genealogy. You should see this genealogy for Uncle that starts back in the beginning of the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
all of the family tree to him inlaid with the timeline of Shanghai.
I love it. And Uncle's not, he's like a family, but not family. He's
Right.
not blood family.
Yeah, no, he's Shanghainese.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's not even, you know, Hong Kong or Chinese. Yeah, he's not family at all, but she calls him uncle.
Yeah, well, it's like, that's the beautiful thing about the books, is that there is family, and then there's like family and there's family, because I think in cultures like hers and like yours,
Yeah.
you do kind of have these incredible, like really tight knit, large families that are extended not necessarily just by siblings, but by familial relationships that have been going on generations. And
Oh yeah, and if I was still living in Hawaii and you came to visit me and
Yeah.
our kids were little, they would be calling you auntie.
yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So I was gonna like, here my little questions are hidden behind here. Okay, and then I wanted to, so let's talk about what's next, Tori. Like, what are you,
Oh,
do you
wait,
know what you're working
so
on?
interesting that we were talking about culture,
Yeah.
because for the first time I'm writing about my Hawaiian culture, my
God,
native
what an
Hawaiian
incredible,
culture.
and what a time to be talking about Hawaii.
Oh my
Did you
gosh.
grow up, you didn't grow up in Maui though, on the Big
My
Island?
mother is from Maui.
Oh.
My mother is from Waihoki, Maui, very just over the hills from Lahaina, and my aunt lived in Lahaina, and she had a store there. And so my cousin was obviously born and raised there, and he still has property. He inherited the family property, but he lives in Honolulu.
Yeah.
So that property is wiped out, but
Mhm.
it's commercial property. So the renter has insurance, so they're going to rebuild.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
And it's so interesting, because I'm hearing that like a lot of that property was inherited over generations, and so there aren't necessarily like, deeds that show who. Is that true?
I don't know,
Yeah.
because I haven't looked into it, but like the book that my agent is reading now, because it's done.
Oh,
so
exciting. Yeah, tell us the premise for that.
she's reading that. Well, it's about an Oregon Park Ranger law enforcement officer who goes back to Kauai for her grandmother's 85th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And finds her ohana in turmoil and two of her cousins missing. And so it's that, but it's very much family driven and land driven.
Yeah.
And the issues that Native Hawaiians, Kanaka Maoli, are going through right now. So but yeah, so there's a lot of things. There's a lot of concern right now over in Maui that they respect and they rebuild with the input of the locals, residents who live there. So it doesn't somehow get taken up, because they're immediately, don't you know, there were people putting out big offers for land grabbing,
Of course.
trying to developers and everything. And Lahaina is a very, small whaling town, and we don't want that changed.
No, it's a beautiful area. I love Maui.
Yeah.
So did you grow up in Oahu then?
I grew up in Oahu, yeah. So my mother was Hawaiian Chinese from Wailuku, Maui. My dad was Norwegian from North Dakota. They met in Tokyo after the war, during the occupation. And that's where both of my sisters were born.
Okay.
And so, Lily Wong, she's Chinese and Norwegian, but she also has this whole Japanese culture because of the martial arts she studies. And that was important for me as well, because Japanese culture is huge in our family because of where my sisters were born.
Yeah, and where your parents lived. Yeah.
My father, when he was alive, spoke beautiful Japanese.
Wow.
And he was the one who really fell in love with the culture.
I love it. From North Dakota.
From North Dakota, right. And so that's a very interesting thing about Lily's father, because he embraces the mothers, you may wonder why Lily's last name is Wong,
right,
when her father is Norwegian. So you'd have to read one of the books to, find out.
You can find out.
But the nice thing about the Ninjas Oath is you can dive in cold.
Yeah. I found that with all the books. I did read them in order because I got the chance.
Awesome.
Well, because I got the chance to get them as they were coming out, and obviously, but I think that's right. I never said that moment where, it's been a year since I've read one and I'm like, oh, where are we and what's happening? I always feel like they very much stand alone. And this, I have to say, I love the cover art on this one. The color is so gorgeous. You're not going to get the idea of how gorgeous the color is because the color in this room is so terrible, but it's this beautiful, like rich blue purple with the purple.
And this is the Shanghai, I figured this is a Shanghai intersection. This is like the highways.
Yes.
An elevated highway. And here's the cityscape in blue way back there.
It's beautiful.
And this scorpion is the triad, the Scorpion Black Society. So that's what's going on here. But when I went to visit Shanghai,
I was going to ask if you got a chance to go.
Yeah. So our son works for Nike, and he was working in Shanghai for 5 years.
I remember. Yeah. You had your grandbaby was born.
My grandbaby was born, and I didn't see it.
I know. That's so.
It was so hard.
That is so hard. But now you get to see.
No, I do, because they're in the States. But so just as luck would have it, if you believe in coincidence, I don't. My son fell in love with a woman from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
He met her through Nike, in the US. But so they ended up both going back to China to work for a while. So we went to visit. And so we got to see Shanghai through Stouffer, who had already lived there.
Yeah.
And then all of us went to Hong Kong to visit her family.
Yeah.
So when we went to Hong Kong, I also got to see it with locals.
Yeah.
In her parents', little apartment, and going to family barbecues, and also seeing it, the way we would if we were visiting.
Right.
So, which is similar to how Lily gets to see it. Of course, this is the first time Lily has ever been in Shanghai.
I was going to say, right. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So and boy, is she getting quite an impact.
Every place Lily goes, she really it's never like a beach vacation for Lily.
No, it's never a beach vacation.
Which is fine, because of course we wouldn't want it to be for her, but she's up to her eyeballs.
This one really.
She needs a break, probably.
You know what? This book is just, how they say, it's extra.
It's
extra.
It is.
Everything.
It's a really lovely place to sort of, end this, like you said, the 4-book. Whatever happens. Yeah. Whatever happens next for her. So come back. What's the character's name who grew up in Hawaii and is a ranger?
Makalani.
Makalani
Pahukula. So
I love that. Okay, so she lives in Oregon. She has to go home.
Yeah, and I have a huge family lineage for that one. Oh my gosh, you should see this. I do this.
Yeah,
I do this. This is my thing. Yeah. It's like because it's not just family like you, me, and our parents. It's lineage, and it affects my characters, and it affects the stories. And there's always a lot of research tied in. And I like to really research, like with this book with the Shanghai, I wanted to really research what was going on, and then figure out the genealogy and put them into historic events that made sense. And when I first did it, I was doing it to figure out which of his relatives were germane to the plot.
Right.
That's why I started this way. And then I realized, oh my gosh, the plot is the family.
I love it. I love it.
And
That's a fun, I mean, that's an unusual way to sort of to come into a plot. Like a lot of times, right? You're coming into it from character, which is really and that is, I think, true of the Lily Wong
I
series.
would
That
say
must be how you
place
work.
and character.
Yeah, place and
Yeah,
character.
so it all starts with research for me.
It's so exciting. Do we have a title for the new book?
For the new, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm not
Okay.
talking about that. Although I have started researching a potential second book.
I love it. See, I'm always like, this is what,
But
this
you
is,
don't get to know.
this is why people hate
I
me.
don't know if my agent's read it yet.
I know, exactly.
Know these
Fair, fair. Well, the good news is that there's more coming from Tori Eldridge. And in the meantime, you have, and I have not read the Flame.
Oh, Dance Among the Flame. Okay, warning, straight up warning, it's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some dark stuff, it's like,
Tori's so sweet. I can't imagine.
I know when that came out, I was like, are some people going to be like, we thought you were a nice person, but oh my God, we can't talk to you anymore. But fortunately, nobody said that.
Yeah.
So
they know you well enough.
So I do welcome, I love Dance Among the Flames. I truly do. I'm very proud of that book. I love
Good.
it. But I do like to warn people, if they've only known me through Lily, that
It's darker.
just be forewarned. Make sure you really read that book jacket before you dive in there.
Okay, well, that sounds like something for me to do next.
But you can dive into this
exactly. So in the meantime, so the first, tell us the names of the ninja books.
Oh, okay. We've got The Ninja Daughter.
Yep.
The Ninja's Blade.
Right.
The Ninja Betrayed.
Yes.
That's the one in Hong Kong. And then this one is The Ninja's Oath. And this goes in Shanghai and then to Japan.
That's so fun. Well, it has been so fun. And I have followed the Lily series, and you and I have talked about getting you on this show for a long time. So I'm so glad it finally worked out. And I'm really excited about whatever's next. I know it'll be amazing, Tori. And I will get myself, a copy of A Dance Among the Flames and be prepared for some darkness. I might have to text and be like, Tori,
and this was so much fun. Any excuse to talk to you is great.
I know. Thank you so much for joining us from BoucherCon in San Diego. We're at the Marriott Marquis. It's gorgeous outside. Unfortunately, it's a little dark in here, but we made it work.
Yeah.
And
we've done this by the pool.
I know.
But we might have had pool noises. So.
And we might have had cocktails. We might have been like, well, if we're by the pool,
mimosas?
We need to do a cocktail. So anyway, well, listen, thank you so much for joining us. Killer Women with Tori Eldridge. I'm Danielle Girard, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.